Okay, update. So I got the oil pump out, or the oil pickup tube off. This right here would go about right here. Goes down in right there. So, and just kind of a frame of reference, see where we're at here. All I did was got all the main bolts off, loosened up, just ready to pull it off. Okay, let's see if we can tap these loose. Okay, so I got the caps off. So there would be one of them right here. Looks to be alright. This one I'm kind of leery about. It looks a little burned, perhaps, worn out. But I don't think it would make those huge chunks in the oil pan. That one looks good. This one looks alright, nice and smooth. This one's the only one that I have questions about. Caps are on the floor here in the same order, so you got the first one, which seemed alright. The second one, there's definitely some damage to the bearing. I wish my camera would focus here. There we go. And it just, something's not right about it, but I don't think it would damage it as much as like the huge flakes in the pan. And the next one was a little bit of gouging, but not as bad as for this one. And then the last one, it's alright, I think. I don't notice anything too bad about it. And something to note, this one that I have questions about, the bearing actually like literally fell out. There was like no oil. There must not have been any oil holding, you know, and the oil kind of makes it stick to the cap. Like these, you know, they're pretty much seized in there. Not seized, but they're in there to where they're not going to come out easily. And this one just pops right out. So, all right, so I've got the took the main bearings off, looked at them. Like I said before, that one in the middle seemed kind of suspicious, but I found out that the main reason that it's locked up is this one right here. That bearing, or the race, whatever, is, I don't know, I'm assuming I spun it. I spun, and it's also cracked right there and gouged to hell. I mean, it's I'm gonna attempt to try to get it out, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to get that out. Now without like taking the whole piston out the top. And then anyway, we got the other ones in a line going from the timing side over to the flywheel side, and your main, that was fine. That one's fine. That one's got a little bit of a gouge. That one's that big one that I had a question about, and it's got, you know, it's not great. And this one, the bearing is still stuck in there. That one's actually great. I mean, I was impressed by that one. And then you got a little gouge there. And this one, I'm guessing my issue was, there must have been an oiling issue. Because we would not change our oil for, you know, the maximum amount of miles that they would recommend on synthetic oil and everything. And we figured, oh, well, that's fine. Well, I would not recommend that with the, at least with the G6 3.5 LZE engine, which is the one I'm working on, and it's overhead valve, found in a lot of like later 2000, like 2000, I believe it started like 2006 or something like that. 2000, no, about 2008 maybe. It's found in a lot of like Malibus and G6s, flex fuel. It's a flex fuel engine, 3.5. And anyway, then we got this one's got gouges in it. Not as bad, obviously, as this one and the one that's of course seized. And then the last main cap. So, interesting things I found out about the engine, of course, is that it, I don't know if I can get a good view of it, but right there actually. I don't know if I can do that. There we go. It's got oil piston squirters. That's the nozzle right there. Oh, that's kind of cool. Probably look up some of the numbers, see if there's anything else that's really cool about it. They'll run great. I mean, as long as you do the oil changes correctly. And I would recommend like 3,000 miles every oil change, even if you're using full synthetic, because it certainly isn't worth. I had to pull it out, luckily found a used cheap one. This happened at about 130,000 miles. And it was it just locked up out of nowhere coming down a hill, and wheels chirped, and that was it. Coasted into town, luckily. And found a used one for about, I think I found it for like 380 bucks or something like that, because I was just gonna throw it in there and trade it in or something, you know. Luckily that one's still running good, but if it happens again at 130,000 miles, got about 40,000 miles to go. So now I change my oil every 3,000 miles on this engine, because I would probably recommend it for the 3.9, because according to this block, the blocks are shared by the 3.5 and 3.9. I believe, pretty sure, I'd have to look it up, but I think it was either the stroke. I think the stroke was different, or it might have been the bore, but I don't know, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's a nice engine. This one got you get about 35 miles a gallon with it, and not this one obviously, but when it was in the car, we're getting about 35 miles a gallon, and combined. But one thing I would stay away from is the fact that GM's wiring harnesses were absolute garbage on these G6s. Because this engine and the one I put in the car, this insulation around the outside, it shatters, it crumbles. And it's not even in a hot spot. The ones that are in hot spots, those harness parts are actually fine. And then things like your hookups, even at 100, it's a 2009 G6, and the plugins were, crumbling under, barely touching them, they'd crumble. It was just, hopefully the GM vehicles nowadays are better, but I don't know. It's enough of my rant. So yeah, that is the issue right there. Bearing is right there. Alright. Yep, that's about it.